I mean, at the end of the day, footballers in general aren't the most morally the pillar of morality. Let's just say of people to look up to. There's some fucking terrible people out there, but most of them are footballers.
Something recently was Jack Grealish, a professional footballer here in England. If you're not aware, he was spotted basically getting on the sesh. So on a session this summer, off season. Bear in mind, he wasn't just doing this, during the season. It was afterwards. They go away on tour and stuff. He was getting on it basically, and there's a lot of pictures of him with beers in his hand and all sorts. And this led to some criticism naturally. It involved even one critic saying pro footballers should not be allowed to drink alcohol at all because we've got enough data to show how much it can impact recovery and performance. So why are these highly paid top stars being able to have it? We've already kind of touched on our points there. It's an interesting one. I think, as someone did say, was if it's having an impact on their performance, then there should be recourse. It should be dealt with. And I think most professional teams will have an eye on players' performance, and if they know it's having an impact, they will deal with it. It's as simple as that. I don't think they'll be allowed to just go rogue and drink whenever they want.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is a job. Being an athlete, professional athlete, is a job. And if you was going to work and alcohol was affecting your performance in any job, that it became a concern, then I think they've got every right to be penalised for that. But saying they should not touch it at all, I think that's a bit too much control there.
It's a bit dramatic, isn't it? Yeah. And I think if we look back as well in the day, I mean, if you look at the old footballers of the past, fuck me, they used to put it away, didn't they? There was pictures of them getting smashed in the dressing rooms after a game, which is obviously detrimental for their overall recovery afterwards. And
I mean, at the end of the day, footballers in general aren't the most morally the pillar of morality. Let's just say of people to look up to. There's some fucking terrible people out there, but most of them are footballers. No, I'm not gonna. I don't generally mean that, but
major analysis by Tom.
I do think when you're in a high profile role, like being a professional athlete, I think you also need to understand that you are also taking on the responsibility of you are in the spotlight, and you are a role model, and you're representing your country as well. If you're playing on a national team, you're playing for England. Let's just say. You are a role model, and you do have that responsibility of understanding that you are constantly on a platform, for adults, for kids. I just don't think it's ethical to, be seen in an absolute shit state or get into an absolute shit state that you do something terrible.
It's like the whole thing of smoking, because obviously it's so fucking unequivocally proven to be bad for you that you're not allowed to advertise it. People are very mindful about having it in big mainstream. People who are high up, as you said, they don't like to be seen with it to set an example, because if it's costing a lot of money, it causes a lot of health issues. It costs the NHS a lot of money. The issue I think some people have, like someone did say in our polls, as play devil's advocate, was that alcohol is an issue and it is costing the NHS a lot of money. So it's these people, if they're making it look cool, if you've got Jack Grealish as a kid looking up to think he looks cool, drinking his beer of whatever, is that a message you want to be sending, long term? Because yes, people say, you should be able to have a drink whatever you want. Yeah, in moderation, it's fine. But the problem is, we're a society of binge drinkers.
Not when you know that you're in a place where the press are going to be snapping pictures of you in a pool of your own vomit.
Yeah, and you're an influential person. The things that you say, the things that you do, people are going to look at that and go, I want to fucking do that now.
Yeah.
And if it's causing harm, it's fucking hell. Because at the end of the day, alcohol is not... it's nothing nutrient, it's not nutrient dense food. It's not like a fucking health food or anything, is it? It's the opposite. And
but I do understand for some people it's a part of their religion, it's a part of their social life, it could be intrinsically linked to culture. So I don't want to shame people from it. And I do understand that in day it can be an addictive substance as well. And I'm not going to be one of those people that say, if you've got a problem with drinking as well, just stop drinking. I'm never going to say that.
No, it's very difficult.
And I do understand that for some people that it's one of those things where they like to come home from work and just wind down with a glass of wine, Or, like Remembrance Day, I'll fucking have a shot of something on Remembrance Day. I'm not going to be one of those people that just inherently shames alcohol.
No,
and you know what? No, go for it. Go on, mate.
All I was going to say was just reflecting on that conversation we had with Rory last week about eating disorders, and I'm seeing some similarities in terms of. I think it's good. We shouldn't shame people who excessively drink. It's not. You shouldn't just say don't drink more, because once again, it's like the eating disorder thing. The reason people drink a lot in excess is because of an underlying issue. The issue isn't because of the drink. Obviously, the drink is an addictive substance, but they're using that as a coping mechanism to deal with something else. It might have started off as a few drinks to calm down because they were stressed, but the next thing you know, because it's an addictive substance, they've been chasing more and more to that feel good. And the issue is not to take away the booze. The issue would be to deal with what started the booze in the first place, I think. So I don't think we should shame people who do it.
It's a complex... Alcohol dependency is a complex issue, which is well above my pay grade to properly approach.
Sure.
However, I do understand that it does require empathy.
Yeah, as with most things, I think. I mean, another thing I put down in the notes here, Tom, I want to talk about is there's a fascination on like the human psyche almost, because I feel like I mentioned at the start was that people will happily listen to stuff and they will go, yeah, that's great, yeah, I'll do it, yeah, no problem, that sounds amazing, until it directly affects them. Okay, I'll do what I want my body, etc. An example I want to give as well is that there was a march. Now I'm not saying I'm for or against this. I'm not stating my political stance on this, but there was a march thing for the refugees, Ukraine, going into people's homes, and there was a lot of people marching saying, yes, we need to take them in, and some reporters went round and asked these people, how many have you taken in? Are you taking one in? And a large majority of them, obviously they could be cherry picked, a large majority went, oh, I don't have space, it's not the right time for me. And it was that almost like, well, they're supporting it, but then when it directly affects them, it's like, oh, it's a bit different now, isn't it? So I've got a different viewpoint on it. Obviously, I don't know the context of it. I'm just trying to use that as an example. I'm not making any sort of political statement.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do have a term for this. Basically, practicing what you're preaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's quite a common thing. It's for a lot of things. Like people who, I remember there was that. I mean, it was getting memed all the time, but I think it was Belgium. I believe it was Belgium where their spokesperson for health was like it was an obese woman. Now, I'm coming at it from a completely neutral point of view. I'm not here to make fun. I'm not here to say it's okay. But I'm just telling you how it was. But basically, it was an obese woman who was basically the Minister of Health, and it kicked up a big fuss like, oh, well, you should be practicing what you're preaching. Obviously, we now know from evidence that at the end of the day, there can be a weight-neutral approach to health, and body weight doesn't always dictate your current health status at the time, although evidence does point that, over time, being obese is going to increase your mortality rate. But yeah, basically practicing what you preach. Doctors are health promoters, but you'll get doctors that drink. You will get doctors that drink. You have personal trainers who might be overweight. You might have sports coaches who train high tier level athletes, but who, sit in chairs, sit in those little fold out coach chairs that the sports teams have. It's practicing what you preach. It's complicated. It is complicated. I don't think it's one of those things where you always have to practice what you preach. I can train someone to, run a marathon, but I can't fucking run a marathon. I could train someone to run a marathon.
Yeah.
But
it's complex. I mean, if I try and strip this back and make it less complex, okay, I want to bring it a bit more to alcohol again. Another example I can give is that you'll get huge uproar from certain individuals when we look at things like chemically, artificially sweetened beverages, okay? So we're saying, oh, aspartame is fucking deadly for you, it's so bad. Yeah, they'll go ahead and smash, outrageous amounts of alcohol on a weekend. Yeah. But then if you then tell them not to drink alcohol, it's fucking Armageddon. It's like, oh, you can't tell me what to do. So, but then ironically, we know that sweeteners like aspartame are fine in normally consumed doses. I mean, there's an episode we did on it. If you've not heard it, it's on our it's in this series. Is it bad for you? So if you check it, I think it was /sweeteners. ChatShitGetFit.com/sweeteners. So check it out.
Kind of like the abundance of fitness influencers that get coked up.
Well, this is
no
this
names
is what I mean,
mentioned.
Mate. This is what I'm going back to about how people will happily go on stuff and say like, oh, I don't drink Diet Coke because it's fucking bad for you. It's, you know, you're horrible for drinking that. You're going to give your kids cancer. But then if you then say to them, well, but you drink loads of booze, but that's bad for you as well if you have loads of booze. And they're like, no, you can't tell me what to do in my body. You can't tell me what to put in my body. It's like, well, where are you standing on this? Like, what's the
do we or don't we have autonomy here?
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I mean. This is the kind of the fascination, as I said, of the human psyche, that we're very complicated people.
I do think, like, if you're on a public platform, you know, where you know the spotlight is constantly on you, and you are seen as like a role model, like an athlete, a professional athlete, I think it gets a bit more complicated there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it does get more complicated.